I have to, oh, it's being recorded. Okay. So, uh-oh. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, the host has spotlighted your video for everyone. Would you like audio to join audio to speak?
Nope.
Okay, so I'm going to say later.
Yep.
And I thought I was screen sharing, but maybe I'm not.
Do you want to now?
Yeah.
I would like to screen
Okay, see
share.
the little green thing down here?
Yep. Okay, there we are. Okay.
There it goes. Do you see
Okay.
that it worked?
Okay.
All right, and I
So
think
that's
I've
people at home are seeing.
Yep. Okay, so I think I've made it big and all this stuff, and if I haven't, someone else needs to
No,
sort me out.
it looks perfect. Perfect, Dianna. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm Dianna O'Brien. I'm the current president of CoMo Preservation. I will be stepping off the board and out of the presidency as of Monday. So you are getting the last performance of me in my presidency. I'm going to talk a little bit about what CoMo Preservation is, what we do, and how you can get involved. And I'm going to update us on two important projects, the Kirkland and the McKinney building. So yeah, so there we are. There's a lot of numbers there. We're a 501c3, which, as you all know, because I'm sure you're generous with your treasures, is that is a designation, so you can give us money and get a tax break. And we are a new organization. We're getting ready to celebrate 2 years. It would technically be Tuesday, but we will take your money in any shape, way, or form. They don't like to take cash, but I keep doing it, and so they have to sort of go along until after Monday. I don't know what they'll do because they won't have a rogue like me taking in cash. All right, so our mission is very simple. We are here to help preserve the historic architecture of Columbia. We focus on buildings and places and space. So we're going to get to why that is so important. And then we have an unofficial slogan, which has become unofficial because I repeated it so many times, they're stuck with it, which is we help people and organizations save the places and spaces they love. And the focus there is that we are not a punitive organization. We have no plans to run around town and say, don't paint your house pink. Paint your house pink if you want to. Just try not to bring the wrecking ball in. That's what we're all about. And we're offering tools and information to people. We are not, like I say, we are not the junkyard dog of historic preservation. That's just not who we are. It's not our mission. It's not our emotive. What do they call that? It's not our vibe. All right. So why did we begin? Okay, this might be the place where you put your hand over your eyes. It's going to get so much worse, kids. Okay. So these were just one of the 4 of the 9 buildings they demolished. I literally could not drive past the campus. So we all remember that horrific summer.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to give you, okay, so there's 2 more really hard slides. Ready? This one, we all remember seeing that headline, don't we? Yeah, the building's no more. And then this one, literally a map of what was leaving. Now, if you wanted to, I could explain why they were leaving. Very briefly, there's a spreadsheet that does not include community sentiment. It does not include historic preservation. And there is no requirement for MU to get government approval, nor is there any requirement for MU to get community involvement. It's the curators. And so here's a trick we learned too late, but we know for the next time. If you want to save a building, reach out to alumni. Alumni can make things happen. All right, so that's the last of the hard slides. I'm really sorry I've done that to you. Okay, so if you're like most people in Columbia, you're thinking to yourself, well, we've already got these other organizations. Like, what's up with that? And why do we need you? Okay, the Historic Preservation Commission is a city commission. That means it's constrained by the law that created it. It can do X, Y, and Z. None of that X, Y, and Z involves telling people how to save their homes, nor is there any advocacy allowed. If you think about that, that would be a little crazy because you'd have a government agency advocating a government agency, no worky. The Boone County History and Culture Center. I love the Boone County History and Culture Center. When I step off the board, I'm looking forward to volunteering with them again. So the challenges that they have, frankly, are they cover the whole county. If they started focusing just on Columbia and working to save Columbia's buildings, other communities would not be served as well. In addition, Boone County, as you well know, focuses on saving very specific historic buildings, the Maplewood House and the buildings in Boone Junction. They save our artifacts. They have an amazing textile collection. Oh, and by the way, they're having a soft opening of 100 items for 100 years. And I happen to write a book about Charles Gerke, and his machine that analyzed the moon rocks is going to be on display for the first time ever. Because there's also one at the Smithsonian, and it's only on digital display. So we are getting that amazing display. We do have a partnership with Boone County History and Culture Center, because that's what we do. We partner. We help people. We partner with organizations. Like I say, we are not the people riding in on the white horses. And then the State Historic Society of Missouri. That is a state organization. It probably couldn't do advocacy because, once again, it's a state organization. It would be advocating against a government or for a government, depending on your point of view. And it's not set up to preserve buildings. It preserves our history. So, so it is a little confusing because we have these beautiful buildings, you know, where the Boone County History Center is, where the State Historic Society is, and you think, like, are they not doing this? Like, why are they slackers? No, they can't. And the other thing is, a nonprofit can afford to make an unpopular stance. The State Preservation Commission, or the local Historic Preservation Commission can't, Boone County can't, the State Historic Society can't. So we can be a voice. So who are we and where did we come from? Okay, I'm going to give you the very quick story. A friend of mine, Trevor Harris, and I were saying, that is really terrible about them ripping down the buildings. We were really upset. And we said, somebody needs to do something. We realized we were someone, and we hopped on our computers. We emailed every single person we knew, and we got 20 people to meet in the kitchen of the Boone County, the Blind Boone House. And from there, we have joined, and I wish I'd had these numbers here. From there, I'm going to give you the numbers. From there, we now have 90 members, even though we only opened up membership in November. We have 500 or more followers on Facebook. We have, I think, 350 people on our mailing list. So, we're not even 2 years old. So we're just toddlers, but in many ways, we're already running, which may put a scary thought in your head about toddlers running. No scissors are involved. We incorporated, that means like loads of paperwork. Our board did so much work. Not me, because they know I'm paperwork challenged. And then in May of 2023, just really 1 year ago, we got our 501(c)(3) status. Before then, we could not shake people down for money, we just couldn't. And so we were shouldering all those expenses ourselves. We started a speakers series in October of 2022, and I'm proud to tell you that we were the only organization in town that had this speaker. We had Gerald Morgan of the MU Space Reduction. I think it was department or whatever.
You probably couldn't believe you even knew who he was or how to find him, right?
I'm a former reporter.
But you know what I mean? Like, he was probably like, someone's calling me.
No, he was delighted, I think. And he was concerned that he was walking into a hostile crowd, but we were not a hostile crowd. We were a saddened crowd. And so we learned that he too had his hands tied. I personally believe he wasn't thrilled either. So we launched our free walking tours in 2023. We had
You guys do the walking.
we do. Yeah.
And there's one tomorrow.
Yes, there is. Are you coming?
I'm gonna be at the Democratic Days of Action, schedule another one.
Okay, so we're gonna get to the schedule of walking tours. It's coming up. And I do, I'm also happen to be the author of Historic Movie Theaters of Columbia, which is, you know, a way that I can serve CoMo preservation as well. So I do the historic movie theaters downtown.
So one more comment, if you send it to Pam, we will promote it on that newsletter that goes out to Democrats.
Oh, all the walking tours?
Sure.
Well, hang on to your seat, buckle up, Buttercup,
Okay.
because remember the toddlers that are running? That's us. We haven't even gotten to the crazy stuff we're doing. It's an amazingly energetic team. And of course, we need volunteers. So we will take that too. Our first anniversary party, we went right back into the Boone house and we had Clyde Ruffin speak about the renovation of that place. That was kind of scary and exciting at the same time. And then our second anniversary is coming up. And we are meeting inside Cafe Berlin. Yeah, and I brought flyers for y'all because I am old school and I believe if you have a piece of paper on your refrigerator, it just helps. And then also just know that all of our events are free, but they are also all ticketed because we have to know how many people we're going to try to stuff inside Cafe Berlin. Cafe Berlin is an amazing venue for us, because it is a perfect example of a rehab building. Everybody here you're all old enough to know that it used to be a filling station, right? No. But you may not know that it's been a filling station on that corner since 1940. So it's a very exciting thing to be able to be inside Cafe Berlin. And then it's also lovely because Adrian Luther designed our logo, which you can see in the upper left corner. All right, so why do historic preservation? Really, why not just send out the wrecking ball? Because then you can have Wi-Fi, blah, 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 the stuff you want in your new modern house. Well, first of all, you can stuff Wi-Fi into anything because ours is a 55 ranch, not historic. And we've got Wi-Fi. So, I mean, we know it can be done. We know we can live modern lives in a historic building, but I'm a former journalist and my love was always writing about the economy because what pays is what you do. So historic preservation boosts the economy in two ways. The people who renovate a building are higher level artisans and they command more money. And there is a huge shortage of them. If you have kids or grandkids, tell them to go to Bob Yap's trade school for 2 years and they will never be out of work a day in their life. And after that, Bob Yap's in, I always get the H cities mixed up. Hannibal or Herman. But his name is definitely Bob Yap, sorry. And you can find out more about Bob Yap on our website. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So also another thing is that people who come to a town for historic tourism stay longer, spend more money. Do we not love it when people come to our town? We have so many festivals in this town. We know that people coming to our town bring money. And this is off the script. But the truth of it is, I was talking to my husband this morning and I said, you know, if we don't have historic preservation, we're going to become a vanilla town. You know, all the towns you drive through and you don't know whether you're in Idaho or Connecticut. Well, when you come to Columbia, you know where you are. You look at the Key, you look at our Boone Tavern, you look at our columns, you know that wasn't put up yesterday. Also, anything you're not stuffing in the landfill is saving money on landfill. Also, I always think, and I do say this accurately, I think about the men who spent their blood, sweat, and tears making the products that make our buildings. You know, so many of our buildings are brick. That is hard, sweaty, heavy work. But if you tear down a building, you just take those bricks, you shove them in the back of a dump truck, and you take some man's blood, sweat, and tears, and you put them in the ground till the end of time. That just upsets me to no end. My father was a laborer, he's skilled laborer, but nonetheless, I mean, that just feels to me like shoving my father's work in the ground. I work with my hands, so, you know, on the computer. And then, okay, blah, blah. Oh, and historic buildings, I say that historic buildings are envelopes. Party time. Historic buildings are envelopes. They hold our stories. Does anybody here know who Annie Fisher is?
Oh, yeah.
Well done. But notice it's not 100%, is it?
Nope.
Does everybody know who Blind Boone is?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And you know why you know this? Because Annie Fisher's houses were all destroyed. There are 3 rental properties that she owned. She was a millionaire. And she has no time or energy for trifling men. She once paid some man to go away. That is one tough cookie. She did happily marry later. She did happily marry later. But the point is that here is a woman who owned 19 rental properties and 2 mansions. And many of us, one, don't know her name, or we don't know why she was wealthy, and we don't know who she is. And that, yeah, biscuits. But actually, she made a lot of money from her restaurants and her hams. So, hams,
Okay,
man.
I'll put her on the Democratic list.
Well, unfortunately, poor Annie passed away in 1938. But, okay, so this is what we do. We believe that when people know that buildings are valuable, when they know why you should preserve them, that they will preserve them. And so we want to amplify the message of the benefits of historic preservation. It isn't just because we feel like it. There are buildings we will work to protect that I don't like, and I don't have to like them. They have stories to tell, and so we will help people and organizations protect the buildings they love. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, we do all those things. I think I told you all about. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk more about that in a little minute. Okay, so we have 3 teams right now. We may change this up, but essentially we do 3 things. We educate. That is our website. Our website has this really cool calendar. If you've ever gone and heard a friend talk about going to something and you're like, dadgummit, I missed that. We have a calendar for all the historic related things. It's updated every month. And so if you're like looking for something to do, or you have those pesky relatives that come to town and they say, what can we do? You can hop on our website and look for interesting historic things. We put Boone County's events on there, State Historic Society's events. Next Wednesday, we have an event for the Historic Preservation Commission. Things like that are on there. Also, this is exciting to me. We have a list of resources that Elena Vega, who's going to be probably the new president.
She's our member.
We love her.
Okay. She's very likely going to be elected Monday. Anyway, she has headed up the project to put together a list of artisans. Sometimes you have an older home, and if you're like me and you're not handy, all thumbs, you saw me try to work the computer, and your plaster crumbles, like say in my house, and you need a plaster. Nobody knows where to look for those people. They're rare and they're hard to get, and they will tell you to your face, see you Monday. I don't know what Monday that guy's coming back, but I haven't seen him for many, many, many years. So there's a list of reliable people and to do the work that you need, because many times a house will be demolished because of deferred maintenance. It's not the homeowner's fault if they don't know how to get the resources. Now, we haven't been able yet to start working on the money end of that, but we know that's also an issue. I already told you how many members we have. Oh, and here's something tricky. It's tiny tricky, but still it's true. If you become a member, you can check a box that says that you can be on the mailing list, but you can be on the mailing list without being a member. So membership is $20 a year. And why should you give me your $20? You worked hard for it. Why should you give it to me? Because this is your way to touch the future. Our expenses are roughly $4,000 a year just for existing. Just for existing. They don't give that website away for free, dadgummit, even though the person who works on that gives all of her time for free. We have a designer who works for free, but they do not give domain names away. They don't give storage away. So that in itself is about $350 a year. Besides that, don't you want to be the person when you're talking to your grandkids that you can say, I touched the future for you. I made sure that this was not a vanilla town, that this was a town you could be proud of and you could have a sense of place. How do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? We have monthly events, which are super, super fun. So far, I'm in charge of bringing those speakers. It's been amazing. The free walking tours, you need a ticket, but they are free. And we also bring people together. We have two ways of bringing people together. You come to the monthly meeting, you go on one of our events, and two kind of people show up. The history geeks, me, who want to talk about weirdo things like the 1940 filling station, which is now a cafe, and people who want to talk about other interesting historic things that bewilder me. And we also have volunteer opportunities. We have a huge volunteer opportunity right now. If you've got a smartphone in your pocket, I'm going to do some heavy recruiting because all we need is somebody to come to our cake and cocktail event on May 28th and take photos and post it to Facebook. There you go. That's what we need. So we have volunteer opportunities from researching a building of your choice or building of our choice. We will tell you, writing. I mean, we would love to have cookies and cake at our monthly meetings. So that means somebody's got to stop at Hy-Vee or somewhere and pick them up or, man the kitchen. So, we need volunteers and all the jobs are varied. Everything from doing research to helping on the website to, whipping up some cookies, which is hard for me, but hey, because I like to eat them all. Okay, so we have a restoration team. That restoration team has fulfilled part of its mission by putting that list together of workers. And another part of its mission is they're now negotiating with the city to access salvage that has already been salvaged. It's been sitting in a building for 6-7 years. But in order for us to take over that, there's a process. They have to recognize us. They know all of us. They've all spoken at our meeting, but they're going to recognize us. Bureaucracy, it's a thing. And we need someplace to put all this stuff. And we need someone to tote it. So if you have a little pesky building somewhere about 2,000 square feet, you want to donate, we want it. If you have some money laying around and you want to rent a 2,000 square foot building for us, we want that too. So that's another way you can get involved. The checkbook is always a way of participating. And then advocacy happens to be the team that I'm on. And advocacy is about helping people speak up for property they want to protect. So we want to help people understand that they can put a home on a national register or on the most notable property list and how to do that. Does everyone here know that if your house is on the most notable property list or your building's on the most notable property list or the national register, there are 0 restrictions? Literally, you could put your house on the national register today and you could file for a demolition permit and tear it down in 60 days. And you're going to say, oh, that never happens in Columbia. I could make you cry. I could tell you about, I am telling you about the Chandler House on Broadway that they ripped down for a future school, which has never happened. I mean, the way I roll is you maybe plan the building first and then rip down the old building, but that's not how they rolled. The other thing that has only been used very in a limited way are local landmarks. Local landmarks is where you decide to save parts of a building. There's a building downtown that was occupied or owned by the first Korean person to attend MU. So the fireplace and the lintel can never leave. The lintel is like the thing that goes, I think it's above the doorway. My father was a craftsman, not me. And a few other things, and the fireplace. So you could paint it pink, please don't, it's brick, or do whatever you wanted to that building, but you can't remove the fireplace or the lintels or a couple of the windows. So, that is a landmark, and the owner of that building, I believe is the city, but I could be wrong about, no, it's not, it's privately owned. Anyway, they put through a landmark status on that. The mule barns have a landmark status. Lena's house has a landmark status. So those things have some protections, but not all protections. And so most people in Columbia don't know that's a possibility. The other thing you can have is don't get scared. Don't get scared. We're not punitive. We're not the Rottweilers. There's a thing called the local historic district. So 2 or 3 contiguous properties can be listed in a local district, which would offer some protections, but everybody would have to opt in. So in my precise neighborhood, it's a neighborhood of kit homes. I live west of West Boulevard on Sunset Drive near Christopher Drive. And when you go through there, all the houses are very cookie cutter. You know, they're mirror images of each other. There's like 3 different styles. So if we wanted to create, and this is a dream, if we wanted to create a local historic district there, we would have to get 2 to 3 people contiguous or in some sort of, not necessarily touching, it could be like 2 houses here and 1 across the street, but they have to be close enough that it makes sense to create a district.
Contiguous.
Yeah, I said contiguous, but I think that does mean touching.
Yeah. Just
Anyway,
reasonable.
close enough to create a district. It would have to be that, and they would all have to agree. So you never have to worry about, I don't want that, and it happening to you. Nothing, no means no. You know, it's never going to happen to you. Okay, this is the great page, right? Upcoming events. So anybody know Barbara Harrell?
Yep.
That girl is a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
She came and spoke, I think maybe a couple of years ago, and it was a short meeting. We're going to have her for like 45 minutes this time. I'm so excited. And then in July, we're going to have a public input meeting. So if you've got opinions, come to the July meeting and tell us what they are. This is your opportunity to say, you know what I think y'all should do is this. And you can hippity hop on the website and screenshot all of our stuff too. Yeah, in fact, okay, and then here's our invitation again. All right, so this night is going to be kind of fun. Not kind of, it is going to be fun. I mean, guess what? It's cake. I'm not a cocktail girl. I don't understand them. But I am a cake girl, and I understand cake plenty good. So come out for the cake. Stay for the trivia quiz. They're calling it brick and mortar. But we know that that is just a trivia quiz. It's going to be super fun. And we're going to reveal the inspiration for our logo, which I think we're giving hints on that now. That's at the end of this presentation. And there'll be cocktails, cash bar, light appetizers. There'll be cake. They'll have cake. They know how I am. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that building used to be. And Adrienne Luther is going to talk a little bit. And she, I don't know if you know Adrienne, but she's so delightful. I love that girl so much. All right. So here are the upcoming walking tours. You can hang with me for 2 hours. And there's no shame, no guilt if you decide you can't take the whole 2 hours with me. Just go get a Sammy. So that is happening on May 18th, June 8th. On this Saturday, Pat Fowler is going to give a walking workshop. And I know Pat well enough to know she's not going to resist telling you a little bit about the buildings we walk by. And then if you want to go on a garden stroll, that is coming up June 15th. And then the Brick Streets tour. Don't get scared about brick streets. Who cares about brick streets, right? Patrick Ernie is giving that. If you have never hung out with Patrick Ernie, you are in for an amazing treat. That guy should be a stand-up comedian. He is hilarious. And he will teach you more about Columbia in a 2-hour tour than you even thought existed. I just love that guy to death. Okay, so I know you're all dying, like, what's going on with the McKinney building? Nothing's going on precisely, but it's protected. And why did I not put a picture of the dang building? Oh, because I couldn't figure out how to download it. That's my bad. So they've had a couple input sessions. They have not decided exactly what they're doing with the building. Just so that you know, that building was, I want to say, built in is it on the next slide? No. Girl, why didn't you put that in? Oh, it is there. It was built in 1917 by a guy named Fred McKinney, who was a African-American bricklayer. So you gotta love that. There was amazing wealth at one point in our African-American community. I think it still exists, but it was more compact and, could be, oh, I probably shouldn't be flailing along here. I see it on Zoom. It looks terrible. Sorry about that, Zoomers. Anyway, and so the mayor's task force is having a meeting May 13th at 3:30 in City Hall, which we all know is a recycled historic building. Yeah, how cool is that? And then this is really great. I'm finishing up really early. Woohoo, you go, girl. If you don't high five yourself, who's gonna, right? Okay, so the Kirkland House. Does everybody know who Henry Kirkland is?
Yeah, but I don't know where his house is.
Okay, well, you're gonna get to take a little peek of it. I could figure that part out. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Henry Kirkland. He was born into slavery. His mother bought him out of slavery. He worked for, I believe, a German gardener who taught him propagation, gardening, all the skills he needed. And he went on to become a very famous, and I love economics, so wealthy businessman, farmer, and educator. And he taught at MU unofficially.
Outside.
Right, because African Americans were forbidden to go inside the buildings. But he was applauded by, I think, Secretary of State or somebody for being an unofficial teacher. So he was well known. He was known nationally. And then this is your opportunity. If you would like to save the Kirkland House, get out your smartphone right now and hit that QR code. I have tried it. It does work, and you can give a donation. So you want me to leave that up for a little minute? Okay. Are you Zoomers? Are you doing it? Come on, we're going to know if you don't know. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio area, so I talk really fast. Sorry.
So where is that house? I'm sorry.
We're going to tell you in just a minute. We got to have some suspense. This is like a murder mystery. Only no murders are going to happen.
Other people anyway.
I hope not. Yeah, I hope no houses either. Do you guys know you can go to the Historic Preservation Commission? It's super, super fun to see what's going on behind the curtains. I mean, they give the demolition report. So if you want to cry in your beer before the thing actually goes down.
You mean like for the state?
No, the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're real fun. They're I think the second Tuesday of every month, and you can see what they're doing before they do it. And they need help and the other reason the Historic Preservation Commission has not the same role that we have a different role, is it's 7 members that rotates every 2 to 3 years. And then it depends on what that 7 member is all about. Like one of the 7 members is required to be, I believe, an interior decorator. Well, they are not going to scavenge something, most likely. That's not their thing. And so they are hampered by that rotation of service, and they're hampered by what their passion is. If you get somebody on there who's all about, well, it'd be really sad if they were about Victorian houses, because I think we have 3 left. But you can see that it depends on the 7 people that are there and how much time they have. One of the members has a young growing family. That person's going to have a full-time job as well. Is going to have a little less time than someone else. So, all right. So at long last, it's 107 Switzler.
Oh,
All right. I know you were dying to hear that. So we actually do have an opportunity to save this very modest little house. I believe it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's currently a rental. And the story behind the story is that the person who owns this is kind of fed up with renters. He didn't have a great rental experience most recently, and he is ready to put it on the market. So a coalition of organizations, including CoMo Preservation, Urban Ag, and a long, long list, the African American Heritage Committee, all those organizations have come together and started working fundraising. And they want to gather $20,000 $5,000. I almost reduced it. $25,000 in earnest money by May 15th.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, really dang soon. I'm sort of wondering if that maybe is,
We'll pull that up in a minute. That's in the chat.
yeah. Anyway, I hope I didn't make a mistake on the date, but anyway, it's May 15th right now. And if that goal's met, it's likely that the city council will consider purchasing them. The word is that we have been told the city is committed to preserving the property in some capacity. They have not stated what capacity.
Explain about the buyer,
Explain about the buyer.
That last part.
alarming the buyer.
Right, okay, I'm gonna explain that. Okay, so we are not doing public fundraising on social media because it is possible that that would alarm, it should have been the seller.
Oh,
Oh, the
The
seller.
seller. Oh, there you go.
Oh.
I read seller, even though it said
Okay.
buyer.
Hey,
I
guess
was on the
what?
right
I
page.
can
wrong
correct
word.
that, watch.
Yeah.
I know how to
Good.
do stuff. Okay, so the seller, because we are concerned that the person who owns it will find out that it is a important property,
And then raise the price.
right? Which is normal, right? I mean,
Sure.
I don't criticize the person for that.
Well, it does have a sign by it, so they know.
Well, it actually is on the African American Heritage Trail. Oh, and I'm going to tell you a little secret about the African American Heritage Trail. Yeah, I have time for secrets. Okay. I'm a little LAZY. It's just how I am. And so you can actually hop on the African American Heritage Trail through an app called AutoCast. And so you can hear audio, you can see the pictures, and you can read the text. So if you're going to lay on your couch and maybe cast this to your TV like someone, me did, and not walk it if it's unpleasant out, that is another way to learn a lot about our African American history. And I'm a huge fan of African American history. Like Barbara Harrell has told me that if she trains people for the African American Heritage Trail tour, she's gonna train me. She calls me not so bad for a white girl. So I've made the not so bad for a white girl list. All right. So how can you help CoMo preservation? Because I know you guys want to touch the future. You have grandkids. You want to live on through having a town that has its own sense of place, its own deep sense of place. Now, you guys all know I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, the Cleveland, Ohio area. And my mother used to always say, when are you coming home? And I would always think, but I never heard her feelings, say, I am home, Mom. On the back of my book, I write that I am a Columbia native wannabe. I was once accused on a ski lift of being a member of the chamber. That's how much I love Columbia. Because I was like, this guy was ready to pack his bag, move to my town, right? Which would be great with me. And so I know that if you love your town like I love my town, and you love that sense of place when you drive downtown. I go downtown all the time. I have friends who don't go down there. They're like, I'm not going down there to eat. I'm like, there's other places to eat.
Yeah.
So that's who I am. But if you love that sense of place, if you want to have a hand in history, we want you. And even if you don't feel that way when you want money, but you can become a member for $20 a year. Did I hand out the membership things?
Oh,
Did you say you make the checkout too?
Oh, it's coming. Yeah. And actually, you can do the QR code thing again. You can do it with your smartphone. Even I know how to do that. We will take a check. All right. Another way, not everybody's got a few nickels to give. If you just want to become a volunteer, we have a painfully long list and you choose. We will never force you to do something you don't want to do. You choose. Also, frankly, follow us on social media. We have a Facebook page that is really kept up and is really good. Simple. We don't post anything ugly. You will never read about men and bears on our page unless there's historic preservation to go with men and bears, and then so we'll be on there. And you can email us. CoMopreservation@gmail.com. It doesn't get any simpler than that. So you can email us and tell us whatever you want. You can say, I feel like doing fill in the blank project. You know, we're so new, we're so young, we're so open. You got an idea? We will support it. For example, I sent him a note. I was on vacation. That there's this new thing that's going to happen at the library. It's called community made lists of resources. They said, if you want to do that, Dianna, rock on. So in October, Matt Federley and I and Nina Sappington will put together a list of resources at the library, and the library will publicize things you could read to learn more about your town. How many people know when Columbia was founded?
And if it was north or south.
It was north and south. It was north and south.
I know it was 18.
Okay, so it's things like that that people don't know about Columbia and that we wish they
I
did know.
do know that the downtown was mostly built in 1888, right?
Maybe closer to between 1910, 1920s. The Roaring 20s was a big thing. Every single former movie palace, the Missouri Theater, what do y'all call it? The Blue Note. I always call it the Varsity. The Hall Theater. They were all. The Hall Theater was built in 1916. Never quiz me on movie theaters. I am obnoxious. I'm either the expert or obnoxious, depending on how long you sat next to me. Yes. Oh wait, there's one more slide. Can you scan it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm supposed to do this. I'm terrible at stuff like this. We're having a logo contest. And that's our logo. You can see it. How cool is that? And it was created by Adrienne Luther. So we all love her. And there's going to be weekly clues on our website. I think on our Facebook page too, but don't quote me on that. And then if you can find the inspiration and the hint for this week, is the source and logo's inspiration lies within 1 block of Broadway. Yeah, 1 block. I thought it was, okay, it doesn't matter.
Between Providence.
Yeah,
and College.
sandwiched between Providence Road and College. Well, that's 10 blocks. And viewable from the sidewalk. But there's going to be 4 hints.
Cherry.
Anyway, take a selfie with it. Send it to comopreservation@gmail.com, and you win a chance for Cafe Berlin gift card. So who doesn't want to eat at Cafe Berlin? Come on. That's it. I'm done. Time for your questions.
All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. She had one over there.
Okay.
You didn't? You just wanted to wave at me. Okay, that's cool.
The previous Democratic office was in the 900 block of Walnut and is now a historic building. It was a house. It's next to the blood bank.
Oh, right. It's the it's the
912.
Choi House, isn't it? It's brick.
What's it called?
Yeah, the
brick.
Choi House, CHOI, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, he was the first Korean. You
Oh,
can
that was the first
yeah,
And where
Korean.
was that?
Oh.
yeah, I think so.
That's
If I'm
neat to
mentioning
know.
it correctly.
Well, I volunteered there for many years.
And it has sort of a funky upstairs, right? Yeah.
It's,
Is that right? Or am I wrong?
no, there is something on top of it,
Uh-huh.
but it's, it's like this wide.
Right. It's the smallest building downtown.
Yeah, and
Was the barber shop also extra?
that's next to it.
Right.
I don't know.
On the other side.
Really, you just have to ask movie theater questions. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, but somebody else go ahead.
Do you have a picture of it on your website?
No,
Okay,
but that's a great idea.
thank you.
That's why early on, right at the beginning, you said that one of the purposes, the purpose of the organization is to preserve historic properties.
Yeah.
How do you determine what makes a property historic?
Oh, perfect question. Okay. There's 2 answers to that. There's a technical answer and there's a more realistic answer. The technical question is older than 50 years. Wait, there's more. This is like a Ronco ad. Remember them? There's more. 50 years or older, something historic happened or portrays something important about our community. You know the peanut brittle houses on Westwood? Okay, they are made with concrete with pebbles smushed into them. They're called the peanut brittle houses. Anyway, there's 3 of them. They were built by 3 professors.
And they're where?
I think they're on
Westwood.
is it Westwood?
It's back in one of those.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Off of,
Yeah. Actually, I have another
Back
one.
off Stewart,
it's
yeah.
off of Stewart, right?
Yeah, okay, okay, so I'm getting shifty here because before I was with CoMo Preservation, I had a website called CoMo Historic Places. I was the founder and operator of that since 2010. And the houses would be listed there. Westmount, okay. Yeah, Alex George
South
lives in one of
Later.
them, and Jeff Chin lives in the other,
Oh,
and I don't remember who lives in the third one. But anyway, so
He's in the one of the,
peanut brittle houses, Jeff Chin is.
I thought it was popcorn. Yeah, or some other peanut butter.
I only know historic terms, like I will tell people it's the restaurant near the Varsity.
Right.
There is no Varsity, it's the Blue Note, it has been for 12 years, but hey, I'm back in time. So, but anyway, so something like that, that is historic nature of Columbia, or a historic thing happened, like Darwin and Axie's home is on the most notable property list. But it does have to be older than 50 years. The other answer is older than 50 years and someone decides that it is historic. So like the Kirkland,
We get more historic buildings, it could be because.
oh, you know what's spooky? My house, which is one of the dumbest, ugliest house. I mean, the first time we saw it, my husband said, "Is it a prison?" I'm like, I don't know, but it's okay inside. But it's ugly from the outside, really, really ugly. Manufactured brick and everything, and it's historic. So go figure. But lucky for us, too many people renovated it, so it didn't never be on the list. Go ahead.
okay, so I'm a friend of Julie Flax.
I love
I know
Julie.
she couldn't be here today because she's seeing her daughter in Brooklyn. But I would love to have a tour of her house because I've told about 75 friends. And I know she's willing to give tours, but if it was an organized one,
Well, guess what, girlfriend?
there's one on the list. Is there?
September, I believe, 15th. So, all right. So
Okay.
we're hooked up
Oh,
to the
wait, I
internet.
have one more
Oh,
question.
Wait, oh, okay.
So given the amount of demolitions that have happened in the university area and on campus.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an opportunity to talk to our lovely board of curators?
if you change it.
That is my dream / nightmare.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to give you an excuse. As a toddler organization, we've just been flat out. But that is my dream, is that I will find a way to create a community liaison experience of some sort. I believe it was Elizabeth Warren, but I could be wrong, who said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And at this point, there is no community liaison to interface about, they call the physical plant of MU.
Well, I know a lot of people know Miss Music on the board of curators. That built a music school.
Uh-huh.
And I know a lot of people that know her. That might be an in that try at some point.
It's actually,
Singfeld.
well,
Seinfeld.
one of the things we were told is that what could be successful is rallying alumni.
It's hard to know. That probably is the best thing. I mean, the university, I'm from the faculty side, they don't have any communication with the faculty. They don't have any communication with the students. They don't have any obvious communication even with the government, right? But they're communicating with somebody.
Well,
We have a nice local alumni association.
But the alumni might help.
well, these are all networks that we need to make.
Yeah.
One thing I like to
I
point
say
out,
good luck.
well, if we don't do anything, we will fail.
Yeah.
Are there
Doesn't
other-
hurt to
Well, I
try.
would say all those constituents have to be motivated. If there's ever something like
I
this.
think that's a great start.
Well, let me just say, in our defense, is that there was no group like this for 200
didn't
solid
exist.
years.
Yeah, you're doing your best.
200 solid years
Yep.
of Victorian mansions being ripped down on Broadway. And we used to have these moments where many people would show up and want to talk about the things that were gone. And I can be a vicious moderator. And I said, I don't have energy to talk about what's gone. I only have energy to talk about what's here. And I only have energy to talk about what are we going to do about it. So for 200 years, we didn't exist. And we're here now. And will we save everything? Not at all. Will we struggle? Will we make mistakes? Will we fall down? Will we stand up? You betcha. But we will provide information so that people can make their own choices. So that's my spiel. You can tell I'm a vicious moderator. Anyway, but you wanted to say something. Is it Sarah? Did I get your name?
Yes. Kathy in the chat asks, she saw somewhere, maybe on Facebook, that there was controversy about who and how many members of Columbia's African American community are on the committee discussing the utilization of the McKinney building. And she wonders if you know how this is being addressed. I think isn't there a group, the city organized some sort of a fact-finding group for the McKinney building? There's like a.
This is what I know, is that there are 15 members. And that it was very conscious of making sure that it was well represented in the African American community. I also know that no matter how much representation you have, there will always be someone who says it's not enough.
Yeah.
And that's a judgment call. I do know that we don't have a place on the task force because they made sure that there were places for people that represented that community. The task force is extremely aware of the origins of that building.
All right.
So is one of your goals to write up the history of certain buildings?
Yes.
Specific.
Yeah. In fact, our vice president, I think she'll have a different position after Monday, has talked about what she calls the QR code project, which her dream is to slap QR codes on the buildings downtown with 3 paragraphs of history. I mean, okay, let me just tell you, you will never want to go to lunch with me, because if we're walking downtown, I'm doing like this. Oh, that used to be, that used to be, that used to be. My friends are so over it. But that is what we dream will happen, because most of the buildings downtown are historic. So that is the dream eventually. So did I answer that question? Okay. Yeah, that is the dream eventually. And I don't know if, oh, okay, I know I was going to do this. Do I have time for this? Oh, no, I don't probably have time, but I'm going to do it anyway. That's how I am, right? Okay. So we're just going to go to, oopsie. There we go. All right. So here under educate, we have news and updates. And then, do I know how to do that again?
You gotta share the screen.
Okay. Okay, I'm trying. Give me a break here, folks. There. Sorry.
You got it. There it
You
goes.
gotta retrain me every time. So I used to go to the Historic Society. They'd have to retrain me how to use the microfilm machine every time. Okay, so under education, there's 2 little things you might want to check out. And everybody here I know has hopped on and signed up for the mailing list, or they've gotten their membership. Yes? Yes. Okay, so here's news and updates. There's the, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Yeah, well, okay, so these are all the speakers we've had. And then also under education is our historic blog. So you can read about the Connolly House. This is a really beautiful blog post that Elena wrote. It's so lovely. Did you know that a cola coffee used to be Coon's Glass and used to be MFA Feed and Seed? Woohoo! Oh, Elena. Okay. Ellis Bichelle is on here. And then Matt Federley wrote these beautiful, beautiful essays about the different buildings downtown, like the hardware store.
Ace Hardware. I remember Ace Hardware.
Oh, Ellis Bichelle is history girlfriend. Yeah, it go bye-bye.
Of course, it was radioactive.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, there's, somebody asked me the other day, what did I think about Pickard Hall? I think that's the radioactive one.
It is.
And I said, I think we should wait, because what we're going to do is we're going to rip it down, put it in a truck, and haul that radioactive stuff to somebody else's backyard. Why don't we wait and see if we can find a solution in the future? It's not doing any harm sitting there per se, because nobody's
point.
having contact with it. But even today, I can tell you, I was a reporter in the late 80s, and they were ripping asbestos out of everything.
Yeah.
And now what they do with asbestos is they encapsulate it. Because did it make sense to take the dangerous stuff out, shove it in a truck, drive it around town, let it fly off everywhere, and then shove it in some landfill where somebody has to live near it? I don't know.
Is the psychology building that then became student health, because I worked in it, was exposed to asbestos, is that still there?
Give me more hints.
It's in Peace Park, it's off of Peace Park.
Oh.
And it became student health after. it was
Parker
started.
Hall, it went bye-bye.
Yeah.
And Parker Hall actually has a hidden enslaved history to it. The man who gave the money to build Parker Hall got his money from his family, and his family got their money from farming. They got their money from farming from enslaved labor. But that building, you know, you have to get out in front of that curve. And then I'll tell you what Gerald Morgan told us is what basically has happened is the state is not funding the university as it used to. And I know I'm over time. I promise this people.
I don't think you are. Yes, she is.
Yeah, I can see the
Okay.
clock from here, I'm sad to say. But anyway, so what happens is they do deferred maintenance because they can't afford it, because they don't get enough money from the state
From the
legislature. And the funding for the university is completely split. It used to be that majority came from state coffers and the students was the minority contribution. Now it's completely flipped.
Right.
So they don't have
That's
enough.
why tuition is so high.
So it's just like in your own home. If you don't have any money, you are not repainting the dining room. You are not getting this fixed, that fixed, this fixed. And so the buildings fall into disrepair. It's very hard for them to do fundraising to say things like, can you fix the cracks in the basement? Can you put a heating and cooling system in? Because who doesn't walk by a building and see the name of Lee Hills? Some guy gave that money. I mean, the Reynolds building is named by a guy who owned a string of newspapers. You know, they want their name on the outside of the building. They don't want their name on the heating and cooling system. So that's a huge challenge. But we need to get on the list before it's on the chopping block. Once you know, it's like I was going to use a bad example. Once you've called the demo crew and they're in their trucks on the way to the campus, it's too late unless you're going to do an activist event and lay down in the road. And we weren't at a place where we were ready to do that. So
It's getting a bad name.
but I think the most important thing I need to say now is to tell you how delighted I am that there's a group of people in this room and on Zoom that is interested in this topic, and that you can share this information with your friends and neighbors. And the next time someone says, yeah, it's an old building, you can say the things you've learned here today. I hope everybody got a bookmark. I hope everybody's now a card-carrying member. But we're also a no shame, no guilt group. So if you feel like you can't afford it, at least get on the mailing list and you can always come to the meetings. We don't have any cupcakes at our meetings, but you could volunteer to do that. The end.
Thank you, Diana.
Did I answer all the Zoomer questions?
My turn, I think
So
so.
you do it one more time.
Yeah, I'm free.
You just tell the one.
Well, I can't until.
If she can't figure it out, I think I can force it.
What, can I just shut
you got
down?
options. Yep, you can.
Okay.
Try now.
There we go, thank you.
Oh, leave, I'm leaving.
I think we've all learned a lot today.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for
Oh,
sharing
thanks for
it with us.
having me.
Probably all joined.
Louder.
Is there anything else for the meeting?
Pam's gonna do her